send the greatest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act and a monarch to behold the swelling scene. Ah, I, Antipholus, look strange and frown. Some other mistress hath thy sweet aspects. I am not Adriana nor thy wife. To be or not to be, that is the question. So, the first time that I heard the Bard's language, I was 9 years old, and I was at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival along with about 1,200 other people sitting under the stars. And I do remember that very well. I was looking up at the starlight as it passed through the cotton clouds and watching as the spiny fingers of the pine trees reached towards the moon, which was shining bright on the Rockies. And I remember a hum of anticipation from the audience as they looked on the stage that was aglow with lights and promise. And then there were the words that came scampering from the stage and into the audience, breaking on its back into a million pieces in an elaborate chain of syntax and lilt. And I knew in that moment, I had no idea what they were talking about. Occasionally, there was a recognizable word that would pass my ear like and, or but there were not many. And I looked at my dad and I thought to him, what are you talking about? Why are we here? And he said, just wait. Let your ear adjust. And so, as if taking the secret decoder ring from the bottom of the cereal box, I heard it. And I was sucked into the language, and I could understand it. And these women, these merry wives, they were cunning and witty and captivating to watch. And they had the upper hand with most of the men in every scene. And they were the heroes, or really the sheroes, of the play. And I knew at that moment that I had to know this. I had to speak these words and be one of these Bardy women. And so began my love affair with William John, the Bard, Billy Bob Shakespeare. And it has been, it's his lesser known name, and it has been one of the longest and most fulfilling relationships of my life, because ours is a relationship that is built on history and tragedy and comedy and poetry and romance. And he has killed me as many times as he has loved me. And most importantly, I know he will be there for me each and every time I reach for him on the shelf. But it wasn't always like that. There was a time when I was terrified of Shakespeare. Who was this iconic god of history and poetry, and why did everyone I know revere him? So, more out of frustration than desire, I decided to study and learn. And I learned the history, and I learned the translations, and I learned that Shakespeare was just a man. He was a playwright just trying to make a living. And he was writing about things that I could actually understand, like love and loss and friends and enemies and trials and tribulations. And in that moment, I realized that I, too, was living the great Shakespearean soap opera that we all live in high school. And when that became relevant, he became interesting. And once he was interesting, he became a passion. And to be passionate, not to be passionate. That is a very good question. So I want to thank you for coming and letting me be here with you tonight and share a little bit of my love affair with William Shakespeare. And through some of his works and some of the history and a little bit of creative conjecture, I want to explore some of the amazing women that jumped off of the pages of history and into his plays during the medieval